So what happens when you get into your 70s and it's time to take your first required minimum distribution or any required minimum distribution and you don't need it? Unfortunately, you don't have a whole lot of choice. You have to take your RMD. The government wants their pound of flesh. They want to tax those dollars. So you are going to have to take your required minimum distribution. I want to give you some ideas today on what to do with it. Now, my name is Scott Caufield. I'm a CPA, CFA charter holder, and the founder of Sophos Wealth Management. Now, first option for those who are charitably minded, a qualified charitable distribution is a great option, also known as a QCD. What's nice about this is that you don't have to pay any taxes on the distribution in this case. So as long as you make a distribution to a qualified 501c3 charitable organization, you don't have to pay any taxes on that RMD. It's not actually considered a distribution to you. Now, important to keep in mind here that that check out of the IRA or qualified account needs to be made directly to the charitable distribution. You cannot the charitable organization. You can't take the RMD, put it in your checking account, and then write a check to the charity and send it off from there. That would still count as income. That would go on your tax return. You kind of defeat the purpose. Still give money to charity, but you don't get that same tax benefit that you do with the QCD. So the other thing to keep in mind too, there's an annual limit for 2025. It's $105,000. Not a lot of people with RMDs of $105,000, at least not early on in retirement. So typically that's not going to be an issue, but also not a lot of people running into the issue of not needing their RMDs anyways. So there's a great option, first of all. Second option, one that I see a lot, is people just reinvest it for growth. So if you have to take an RMD out of your retirement account, but you don't really need the money to spend, fund your lifestyle, just put it in a taxable brokerage account and continue to let it grow. Pretty easy there. The distinction here too is don't just put it in your checking or savings account and kind of let it sit there and do nothing. The idea is we're trying to kind of grow it, or at least invest it in alignment with your goals, risk tolerance, so that you're hopefully kind of optimizing that money and it's not just sitting by the wayside, which I think is something you do see sometimes. An object in motion stays in motion. It's easy to let that stuff sit in your bank account. Another option is spend it. It's your money, you earned it, you may not need it, so it's a good chance to take that one-off vacation, book a VRBO for you and your family, do whatever is going to kind of give you that optimal joy in your life. Presumably, again, because you don't need the RMD, this is sort of excess cash flow that you don't need for your future retirement, and you can do something fun with it and kind of try to get the most out of your life. I am a big believer of use your money to optimize kind of your life. And it's not all about just accumulating the most. Oftentimes it's about doing the things that make you happy, whether that's spending time on vacation with a loved one or with family or whatever it is. So last option is gifting it. So not just charitable gifts, but you can gift it to family or friends. So there is if you give under the IRS gift limit, which is $19,000 per individual, and that would be up to almost $38,000 for a married couple, you can start kind of doing some estate planning, giving to kids, grandkids without triggering any sort of tax implications, staying under those limits. If you wanted to fund 529 plans, let's say for grandchildren, not only can you gift up to that limit, but you might get a tax deduction from your state. Of course, this depends on what state you live in, but many give a pretty generous tax deduction there. In Washington State, there's not really any benefit to giving to a Washington-specific 529 since we don't have state income tax, but check the state you're in because there might be. So hopefully these give you some kind of baseline ideas for what you might want to do with an RMD you don't need. I've seen other options out there. People talk about doing like a Roth conversion. I think things like that it's essentially just paying the tax bill on any conversion. That gets a little more complicated on whether that makes sense for your tax rate today versus the future and your overall kind of tax planning. So that's not really a blanket recommendation I would give, but for those whose tax rate are going to be significantly higher in the future, that's something you could consider as well. So hope you found this video interesting. Appreciate it if you like it. Subscribe to my channel and share with anyone you think would benefit.